Hello and welcome to the Villa Talks podcast. Welcome to the late night ramble. Welcome Unai Emery. Big week for Villa.
He's not on, is he? Is he on?
Well, surprise.
Is he
watching?
Yeah, he's coming in. Yeah. No, we just need Sam to do a really mock Spanish accent.
Oh God, no! We've had enough of that on Twitter, haven't we? That.
Oh yeah. Let's not go there. But how are you, boys? First off,
good.
AJ with me this week.
Better than last week, mate. Last week we were miserable, weren't we?
Yeah, big time.
And also, like, it was a bit of a waste of time. We were like miserable on the podcast for 45 minutes, me and you, and then we came off the podcast, and 10 minutes later they sacked him.
Yeah, straw that broke the camel's back. I reckon. Watch that.
Yeah, they're all right.
Yeah. I named the video and the. Well, luckily the pod, by the time I actually gave the audio pod out, he'd gone. But when I put the video up, it was Steven Gerrard has to go. And everyone, as soon as he went up, like literally 5 minutes later, everyone obviously is on Twitter. A bit late, mate, it's happened. I was like, all right, fine. Have to go back and edit it, change the Steven Gerrard going, gone. So yeah. How are you? Well, let's start from the beginning. So, we're gonna try and do it in the normal format ish, just because AJ really wants to do hero and villain of the week this week. So AJ,
I'm actually doing it. Am I?
You're gonna do it. I'm gonna let you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All
right. Good.
Just because you I know you were half joking about doing it, but you're on the spot.
I was, yeah, but fine, I'll do it. Yeah.
So, plus, I get to use my crap videos that I previewed last week that AJ thought were awful, but I haven't got around to changing them yet. So.
I was just in a bad mood last week, mate. I'm sure they're great, but I was just on a big downer.
No, they were a bit shit.
Carl, mate, come on.
No, they were fine. I was in an equally bad mood, and I was just watching it.
Right. So there's
probably made it worse.
Yeah. All right. So for everyone listening and watching, just be careful of your ears because I haven't changed yet. This is going to be very loud. His news stories of the week is from the stands of Villa Park.
It's not making a noise, mate.
It's not working. You've done that wrong.
I'll press the wrong button, haven't I? Here we go. Big news story of this week. Well, there's two, isn't it, really? Steven Gerrard has gone. Unai Emery has come in. That is all we're going to talk about, really. But I just wanted to do the intro.
I can't believe you've done the intro for that. It's not really news. Come on.
It's not. Whoa. It's not really.
Do you reckon there's anyone listening? Do you reckon anyone's listening?
It's news. What? You're telling me they've sacked him?
Have you not seen the team of people I got? Did you not see the team of people working behind the scenes there, putting these stories together?
Yeah.
Is it Jugsy? Jugsy.
He's white.
No, he's busy putting your mum's telly up, isn't he?
Yeah. No, actually, I put the telly on, and he came to the rescue because he dropped me off to my back home because I haven't got my car.
Right.
So long story, but anyway, let's go back. Anyone watching this for the first time, this is very standard for us. It takes us a good 15 minutes to actually get onto Villa. Unai Emery, we'll come on to him in a second. Firstly, we didn't get your reaction, AJ, because obviously we finished the last week's pod fairly early before he was sacked. What was your immediate reaction when he went?
I was a little bit surprised by how quickly it happened. Obviously, anyone who listened to the pod last week or watched the pod last week will know that I was pleased he had to go. He was taking the club nowhere but in the wrong direction. So yeah, I was just pleased that we didn't mess about and we just got it done and he was gone. But I was surprised. I thought he'd get another game. But it's clear from the stories that have come out that, Zawiris being there, he was obviously furious with the performance and was, just wanted to take action straight away. Only positive thoughts, please, gents. So yeah, on that front, yeah, positive. I think he had to go. The owners were decisive. Anyone who's been saying the owners have lost interest, that they're not pushing for the project in the same way that they were previously, that they've lost their ambition, any of that. It's nonsense. It's always been nonsense, but I think how decisive they were in that move when it finally came to it. Arguably, they could have done it 3-4 months ago or longer. But when it came to it, they were decisive. They got it done, and they've obviously got the appointment lined up very quickly as well. Emery said today in his final press conference at Villarreal that we'd first contacted him on Friday. So to me, it seems like he was our first choice, or certainly amongst the first choice options. It seems like we did contact Amarim as well from what the news stories are talking about, but we pulled out of that fairly quickly. It feels like Emery was certainly one of our top choices, if not the first choice, if we were already in contact with him on Friday. And yeah, again, decisive, just no haggling, no negotiating. Like, this is his release clause, right? We'll pay it. Let's crack on. And that's what we needed, really. There's no point hanging around.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think we've seen, I think Greg Evans put something out around the number of days it's taken us to hire a new manager. When Steve Bruce was sacked, getting Dino in, then Gerrard, now Unai Emery, and fair play to them. They've obviously, again, as AJ says, shown their ambition, shown that they're not resting on their laurels, and they want success end of the day. And Unai Emery it seems from reports and what's been said, that he was on a list of 3 probably of elite coaches that Villa wanted. Elite in terms of, obviously Villa's own thinking, but Poch being one, Tuchel, and then Emery. And to get one of those 3, I think, shows you again the ambition of the club, and to get him in so quickly. And considering Unai Emery, obviously, rejected Newcastle last year, Carl.
And Spurs the year before, didn't he? As well.
Spurs a year ago. Actually, was it earlier this year? Wouldn't have been Newcastle. But do you think situation helped us? Because obviously, when he rejected Newcastle, they were in the Villarreal, in the Champions League, going all guns blazing. And obviously now, probably not in as good a position. Maybe Villa was a much more attractive proposition now compared to what Newcastle was back then.
Yeah, I think I've read that actually one of the big decisions there was he wanted to spend more time with his son, and I think that was one of the reasons he didn't take the Newcastle job. I was hoping that it was because morally he wouldn't accept the job for that monstrous club, but he managed PSG, so I don't think it was a moral decision. But yeah, I think. I didn't think for 1 second he'd come to us. I didn't think. I thought he was someone we might have a word with, and it'd be immediate no. Which seems like if we have asked Pochettino, that's what he said. I've kind of been seeing a lot of people talking about this appointment and going how you can go from sort of Park to Tuchel and now to Emery. There's no clear vision.
Yeah, Max Delaney was saying that on.
Yeah,
Miguel Delaney and Sid Lowe was.
Sorry, Miguel Delaney.
And I suppose if we was going for Tuchel, there's something to be said there. I mean, Pochettino and Emery, they play the same formation. They both like pressing football. I mean, Tuchel, I could understand that that's a bit of he's a completely different manager, but. And we have spoke about it before that we do need an identity going forward, so we're not in this massive change whenever it doesn't work out. So I'm kind of hoping that Tuchel was just a name that we kind of just sounded out, but didn't really ever really go in for him properly. But I mean, I'm massively over the moon. I think he's better than a better manager than any I imagined we could get. I thought the best we could get was probably Brendan Rodgers. So massively surprised, really happy. And I think he's probably the best coach we've attracted for maybe ever, sort of worldwide.
Well, certainly in the Premier League, if you look at his
I'd say maybe O'Neill at the time. Obviously,
worldwide though, sort of
worldwide, European, yeah.
European level.
Yeah.
But I think at the time, O'Neill, you know, he was very much a manager on the up and seen as a kind of, you know, elite manager of the future. But you know, splitting hairs really. Certainly in terms of CV, he's the strongest manager we've ever brought in, isn't he?
Yeah, looking forward to us ruining him.
Yeah, okay. Can I roll out my usual thing when we get a new manager? That is no manager since Graham Taylor first time around has left Villa with a better reputation than they came in with. So good luck, Unai. But sorry, positive vibes only on this pod. But
positive vibes only. Positive. Well, I know
I do like to roll that one out.
Gerrard Levy, who regularly listens to the pod, he said cautious optimism, which I think is the name of the game for most Villa fans, isn't it?
No, I'm not even being cautious. No, I'm sick of being cautiously optimistic. I'm all in. I'm all in. This is the last manager now. If he fucks up, I'm giving up. I'm giving up.
The last manager ever.
Just the last. If he doesn't make us any goods, then we might as well all fucking leave it.
What are you going to do? Give up on football in total, or are you going to?
Yeah, no, I'll support a local team.
Yeah,
Selly Park FC or something.
Grove or something. Don't dox me, mate. Everyone knows I live in Selly Park
now. Yeah, well, you could join me in down Hell's Own Town if you want, mate. They're top of the league at the moment, so good option.
This is not a Hell's Owen pod, boys.
Come on, up the else. I bet there's a couple of other listeners out there who also like.
There's loads. Oh yeah. All right. So lots of comments coming in. Everyone's very excited, I think, on the main. Or contrary to what TalkSport are saying. They're saying, "Oh, he's not really one to get." Villa fans were underwhelmed, I think was the phrase used, but bullshit, absolute bullshit. Some talk around Perslow's involvement as well. Danielle commenting, "There's been quite this sacking round. Is he in the doghouse? Job on the line? I'm just embarrassed." Does very much feel like, and I suppose credit if Perzo has been involved, which I imagine he must have been, given he's a CEO. Then credit where it's due, especially since we've been quite critical of him. But it does. I don't know what you feel, AJ, but it does feel like this is like the owners stepping in and stamping their authority a little bit more.
Yeah, well, Zawir specifically, because obviously he was there at the game. It feels like the sacking, as far as you can tell, reading between the lines, it feels like the final decision to sack Gerrard probably came from him more than it did Perslow. That whole storming out, the story goes, which I think it mostly came from Ashley Priest. Stormed out at half time, and then Perslow followed a bit later. Reading between the lines there, it does seem like there was some disquiet amongst the board, and it wasn't just a case of them all being a bit annoyed with the performance and all of that sort of stuff. So yeah, who knows? And again, we were talking about Langer and his role earlier as well. How much of a role has he had in all of this, and how much of a role has he had over the last year in terms of the signings and all that sort of stuff? They're not the sort of signings we expected from him when he came in with the track record that he had previously in terms of buying players young and selling them on at a profit and so on. So it's always really hard to know what's going on at that board level, but it does feel like, as there would be, I guess, in any business when things aren't going well, some tensions between the people who own it and the people who they have trusted with running it, if the decisions the people you've trusted with running it are not looking great. But again, in terms of getting the job done, in terms of hiring a new manager, if Perzo has been involved on that front, you can't fault it because it's gone so smoothly. And in terms of hiring, as you said, in terms of hiring Gerrard last time, that went very smoothly. Just he was, as we suspected he might be at the time, was totally the wrong man for the job. But we got it done very efficiently. So from a sort of day-to-day running of the business, I suppose, doing that very well. Similarly, I guess with transfers, they might be the wrong transfers, but we're getting them done on the whole fairly quietly. Things like the Kamara deal, all of that sort of stuff. So in terms of the kind of day-to-day functioning of the club, I think we're still doing that very well. It's just whether some of the more strategic decisions behind that are right. This feels like it is, but some of the ones over the past certainly 12 months, obviously we've questioned along the way.
Yeah, but do you think, Carl, we've been harsh on the higher ups on this pod at times? You know, there's always going to be mistakes in football. Not every decision is going to be perfect. Obviously, the trajectory of the club since Gerrard, or I suppose since Ings was signed, seemed to be going the wrong way. But we have signed Diego Carlos. We have signed Boubacar Kamara. The academy rebuild, I suppose, if you like, is continuing. And you know, some of the players who are out on loan are doing really well. For example, stuff going on behind the scenes with the ground, the new badge design, etc. I know these are probably small things in the grand scheme of things, but do you think we've been a little bit harsh? And do you think Purslow, the owners, do you think they deserve a little bit more credit?
I started to criticise the owners a bit personally, so, and I certainly now feel like that was harsh and completely wrong. I mean, this appointment doesn't show. I feared they'd become absent and lost a bit of interest. This, as AJ said at the beginning, that it's clearly not the case with this appointment. Purslow, no, I don't think we're being harsh on Purslow. This was his little pet project, wasn't it? Like you can't push forward with something that you want personally to happen when there was fans. I mean, you know, us, this pod, we said from the beginning, most of us, we won't mention Sam, he's not here. We knew, we said
He's very active comments.
He is watching. Yeah.
Well, we said what the issues would be. We weren't just going there going, oh, it probably won't work out. We said exactly what it would be like, and that happened. And it's the fact that he couldn't see it. And I think what annoyed me the most was before the Fulham game, when it was just like, oh, he's going to get 2 games. Why? Why are you saying that? Like, if we lose, at the time I was thinking, if we lose 4 or 5-0 against Fulham, surely he can't stay. And then, you know, that they give us a good beating, and they decided, what? Yeah, but who decided at that moment? I don't think it was Purslow that suddenly decided he's got to go now. It was the owners, wasn't it? So I don't think we've been too harsh on him. I'd be surprised if he gets away with his job intact. So
really, do you think that's serious?
I think he should. I think it should be in question.
Yeah.
And it's not just the making the mistake. It's the reason he made the mistake. He's a star chaser, isn't he? Like he loves that whole. It was the video. We all liked that video he did when
use the phrase you wanted to use. You can use
star
the phrase.
fucker.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Well, he like that video, and we all at the time thought, oh, that's good. But if you think about it, why is he on camera? He was also on TalkSport that following week as well, talking about it. Why is our active CEO, going on in TalkSport, talking to them about club business? Just do your job. Like, you don't need the attention. And I genuinely would be surprised if he gets away with keeping his job here.
I mean, I said on Twitter about his job being impacted, but what I remember, that people thought I meant we should sack him. I think he's done a lot of good, a hell of a lot of good, and some bad as well. And definitely, I think he should be questioned over these decisions he's made. But what I meant by that was maybe having a bit more onus on the footballing decisions on someone with a bit of authority and knowledge. I'm not necessarily saying Johan Langer, because I'm not sure if he's the right personality. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, because I don't know what he does day to day. But someone who's a proper sporting stroke football director, who's maybe not going to sit alongside Purslow, but, you know, on a similar kind of level where Purslow can just take he can get involved in big transfer decisions if he needs to, in terms of, you know, selling the club and to selling the vision or whatever it might be. End of the day, he's he's got the boots on the ground for the owners in that respect. But having someone who can actually has a bit of knowledge, a bit like, you know, we've mentioned before, Edu at Arsenal, who actually has a knowledge, understands the game, who can make those footballing decisions, rather than someone who has no background in football but has heavily been involved in football and is heavily involved in footballing decisions here and in previous roles, and probably to the detriment of all those clubs, including us. So that's what I meant. And you know, so a lot of people, I think, know the mighty Juju, who's saying, you know, Purslow is a net positive for the club. Yeah, he's a grown up. We've had some terrible ones previously, and I think that's a really fair fair comment.
Well, I think it is, but when you're comparing him to like Keith Winus and all of these jokers, then it's a pretty low bar. So him being better than them is not, which isn't to say he doesn't also do some good stuff for the club. As we've said, like, you know, when it comes to negotiating transfers, getting them over the line, doing that in the right way, etc. I think, you know, there's no argument that he's good at that stuff. But as Carl says, he obviously wants to have a kind of media presence and a public perception of him and all of that, which I don't think we need. The other thing I would say is Unai Emery coming in is going to be interesting for how that kind of
dynamic
senior team works, and around Langer and all of that, because reportedly one of the big frustrations that Emery had when he was at Arsenal was that he felt like he wasn't given enough control over things like transfer decisions, and that some of those things were imposed on him, and he ended up having to work with players he didn't necessarily want, that he wasn't given enough support with things like the Ozil situation and stuff like that, where he felt then that subsequently, after they got rid of Emery, Arteta was given all of that control and given that, you know, that ability to bomb Ozil out and all of that sort of stuff. So it'd be interesting to see when he comes in, how that dynamic is going to work, and whether he's going to want to have some say in, you know, if we have a football director or whatever, if he's going to get any say in who that is and what that relationship is, and whether he can work with someone like Langer or someone like Purslow or whatever it is. And presumably, given the experience he had at Arsenal, he is going to have asked for some reassurance that he's not going to be in that situation again, coming back to the Premier League. And it's also clear, you know, when you look at him at Villarreal, that he's got such a close relationship with the owners there. Obviously, they've had this big emotional thing with their vice president sadly dying of leukemia in the last week or so as well. So, you know, I think he's coming from a club where he has basically been given the full reins to do everything. Presumably, he's asked for a similar situation here, and it'd be interesting to see how that dynamic now plays out, because that's certainly not how Purslow has seemed to want to work in the past. He's wanted to have a big presence and, you know, be the guy.
Yeah, so let's go back to Emery then. We've talked about Purslow enough on this pod, and you can see there in the comments, it's a real mixed bag of what people think of him. I definitely think his reputation has taken a hit because of this with most Villa fans, but at the end of the day, he has done a lot of good as well. So, but let's move on to Emery, and a lot of people are asking, you know, what can we realistically achieve under Emery's management? You know, Sean Fitzpatrick there asking the question, a few others asking the question. Sean follows up with sort of top 10 cup win, nice way into Europe. Obviously, he's thrived, well, in the league as well in terms of his win percentage. You know, you look at Arsenal, his record there. On the face of it, you know, he was ridiculed, really, wasn't it, at Arsenal? But, you know, had a 55% win ratio, finished fifth, just outside I think 2 points off third. Went on an 11-game winning run in his first season. Seems very much that Ramsey getting injured in his team cost them, and they could never recover from that. Obviously, runners up in the Europa Cup couldn't quite go as far as he did with Sevilla or Villarreal. But on the face of it, you know, a pretty good record, 76% win ratio with PSG. Obviously, I know it's PSG in a one-horse league, I suppose, on the face of it. But again, you know, pretty good win ratio there as well. And in this, I think, the second season, 106 goals they scored. For someone who's meant to be a pragmatic manager, that's fairly exciting on the face of it. What kind of what do you, AJ? What do you think we can achieve under Unai Emery? And then also what kind of football do you think we can expect under him as well?
What do I think we can achieve in what time frame, mate?
Okay. Let's look at
the rest of this season.
Rest of the season, and he signed a 3.5-year contract. So this season, in terms of what he should be trying to aim at, given the squad and given where we're at, and then over his tenure, potentially over his contract length, what you think he can achieve?
So this season, I mean, we're not a million miles off. It's still early enough in the season that, what are we, 3 points off the top half or whatever it is? You've only got to go on a bit of a decent run to improve. But I do think we need to be realistic and we need to be patient this season. We're going from a coach who, by his own admission, does not coach the players himself and relies on his support team to do that, to a manager who is obsessed with detail, wants to be involved with everything, is going to coach the living daylights out of the players, all about, pressing trigger movement, all about spacing, all about structure, all of those things we've been complaining that were completely absent under Gerrard. We're going completely to the other extreme, and that is going to take time to implement. And it's also, he's going to need to look at the squad and decide whether he's got the players to implement that sort of system that he wants to play. So obviously, we've been appalling so far this season for most of it under Gerrard. So I expect to see an improvement, and an improvement fairly quickly. And I expect to see us move up the league. And I would hope to see us be comfortably mid-table by the end of the season. But we all know that mid-table is very contracted. So being comfortably mid-table without much change in results can mean you're 12th or it can mean you're 8th. And I think anywhere in that range, I would consider a success for him this season. I think it might be an advantage for us, the weird season with the Winter World Cup, because he'll have that time with a lot of the players. Obviously, there will be some of our players going to the World Cup, but not loads and loads of them. He'll have a good number of the squad still to work with across that period, which I think will give us a good chance to implement that new system. So I think that might work in our favour, having got him in before the World Cup. But I think we need to be patient. And yeah, over the next 2-3 years, it's exactly what we think what we've been told the project should be. We should be aiming, in the next couple of years to be consistently in the top half of the table. And towards the end of that contract, you'd certainly be hoping we're pushing for Europe, qualifying for Europe. But I think, we can't expect that to happen overnight.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And I think again, we talked about the ambition of the owners, and I think this is a long-term project. At the end of the day, it needs to be a sustainable project. It's not get Europe this year, or next year, and then fall away. It's trying to build a club that can continue to challenge for those positions. I think that's the key there. And again, a bit like signing Ings, a bit like signing Luca Dean, Coutinho, as well as, or badly as they've gone. Again, it's a similar kind of premise in that they're looking for a manager who's already at the top level. And the point we made, AJ, on the previous pod, just before Gerrard was sacked, was around sort of the analogy of buying Brian, having a Formula One car and then getting a rookie to drive it. And that's pretty much what we did with Gerrard. Now we've got a seasoned pro driving it, someone who's won titles in Europe, who has experience, someone we probably should have got when we hired Gerrard, but again, circumstances probably would have meant that we might not have got him at that time, and maybe it's worked out in our favour. Maybe we have to go through the pain of Gerrard to get to this position.
I don't think we could have got Emery at that time, but we said at the time, someone with experience, all that sort of stuff. That's what we so we could have got a similar sort of manager. But anyway, let's not go over all that again.
Sanjay, happy Diwali, lads. The light burns bright, our glorious club. Chuck the Villa, and welcome, Unai. Happy Diwali, Sanjay, to you. Good week for you boys. I won't talk about the cricket. It was a tough day for me. Tough day for the Iqbal household on Sunday. That was India, Pakistan. Great game though for the neutral. Carl, let's talk about the impact on the players now. So Unai Emery's come in. We've seen what Danks did at the weekend, and we'll talk about the Brentford game in a little while as well. Big decisions made at the weekend. McGinn, Ramsey, changing formation. A lot of reports that Unai Emery, the reason why we hired him was his use of the 4-2-3-1 formation, sometimes 4-4-2 formation, and using the double pivot. We saw that with the Brentford game. Max, AJ, your mate Max, will anyone miss the inverted fullbacks? Don't think any. Nice one, Jess. Like a hole in the head. How do you think it will impact the players and trying to get the best out of the players as well? Bearing in mind what we saw on Sunday against Brentford.
The certain players that I worry for, McGinn, I have a worry where he's gonna fit in. Kamara coming back, you'd think that Kamara and Louise are going to be the double pivot with, and then you've got Dendonka, who just had an absolute stormer in his full debut, who's going to be vying for one of those two places. You can only see McGinn as sort of the backup number 10 to see if he works, because I think Emery likes a number 10 who, whilst creative, it also is a big part in the press. But Buendia, that's literally his game. Like, he'll be brilliant at that. So there's some players that I really worry for. Real random reviews, as mentioned then. I was going to mention it myself about wondering if he'll let them have ketchup. And I'm wondering if that was McGinn's superpower. Maybe he really, really liked ketchup, because he's been shit since he hadn't been able to have any on his burgers. But I think Ashley Young's been brilliant, deputising for Dean, but I don't know how Young would feature, how he would do in Emery's system. He's 30. What is he? What is he? 38 now.
He can't have 37, I think, isn't he?
He can't have much.
He's my age.
I hope he does. I hope he plays forever.
I mean, to be fair, 37. I think I've reached my peak. So hour of football burnt 862 calories. So did a fair job in an hour yesterday. So I reckon, I think I last week I was marveling at Ashley Young and how great he is. But after my performance on Monday, I'm thinking actually maybe 37 is a new 28.
What level was you playing at, mate?
Oh yeah, it's pretty competitive Monday night football 8 aside. It's pretty decent, mate. Pretty decent standard.
Surely, if you're burning more calories, then that means you're less fit.
No, just I was covering more ground, mate. That's.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'd like to. Have you got the stats?
You were in goal, wasn't you?
Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves.
Have you got a heat map for that performance, mate?
Yeah. It's a big blob in the middle. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah. Yeah, go on. What were you saying, Carl?
Well, no, I was just thinking that I'm really eager to get Carlos and Kamara back in the team. I mean, they're genuinely, if Emery was going to come into the team and add those to the squad as his first two signings, you'd be delighted, wouldn't you? So
apparently Kamara's back on the grass as well.
There was a picture of him
back racing for Aston Villa. I think the auto translation from L'Equipe said.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, I was wondering about the formation on against Fulham, and I wonder if we changed it to that in a kind of Emery, because we spoke to Emery. Said he'd already kind of made his mind up on Friday as soon as we asked him. So did we say, this is the formation that you play, this is how we can play, and then we demolished? I like to think that's what happened. I like to think that Aaron Dank said, here's the blueprint. I
mean, it does show you a little bit maybe of discontent, maybe in between the staff, maybe even the players as well. I'm not going to go back onto over old ground. We've talked about Gerrard already. I don't want to go over old ground, but the fact that he changes so rapidly and changed personnel.
Isn't it just that it was completely obvious to literally every person who watched Villa?
If we can see it's 4-2-3-1, then I don't understand how someone who's done the coaching badges, who's gone through, a footballing career like Gerrard's gone. I just can't believe they couldn't see that. It was just.
I can't remember when we first started saying it, but it was definitely last season. There was like, look at the players we've got. 4-2-3-1. Drop McGinn. He's out of form. With the best will in the world, we're obviously interested observers of football, but none of us are tactical experts, are we? No. We could see it.
You're the closest we've got, AJ.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Actually, sorry, Yaro's a European footballing expert, isn't he?
That's true, he is, yeah.
Just because he's Polish. Cheers, Sam. I believe in you. Someone should get a scout. I agree. I reckon I could do a job. No doubt. No doubt. Brian, sorry, I'm going to talk about this. Brian, first time seeing the other two lads, I just assumed Carl was Alan Smith with a fake name. Are you the one recording the FIFA commentary when he keeps talking about him playing for Aston Villa and how he's fond of the club? Is that you? Yeah,
it is. Yeah. This isn't even my real accent. This is fake. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Should get
really
me in Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. Yeah, but did I read somewhere about Emery learn English by watching Peaky Blinders?
Yeah,
didn't he?
yeah, he did.
How apt? Yeah. How apt he's now at Villa, Sevilla, Villarreal, and Villa. Perfect. So yeah, I mean,
and he managed David Villa as well. Remember that? That's the fourth one.
David Villa. Yeah, very good, very good. So a few people have asked about assistant coach. David Stiles has asked as well. So rumours that it's a European Cup winner and has Premier League experience. Now, I said on Twitter, Santi Cazorla. Now, I'm not saying he's won the European Cup, but in terms of the Euros with Spain rather than the European Cup Champions League. My thinking was Guillaume Balaguer would just call it the Champions League if he'd won the European Cup, if that makes sense, rather than say calling it the European Cup, unless it's someone who won the European Cup before it was a Champions League.
It might also mean a European Cup, as in it could be the
Santi Cazorla's won the Intertoto Cup. So
I thought that he had established team that he tended towards bringing in.
Apparently, he'll be bringing in another assistant coach.
Did you watch that? Did you watch that? Did you watch the part? I mean,
I haven't seen it yet. No, I recommend everyone watching it.
Yeah, I had a little watch, and it was very interesting. But parts of it made me think he's just making this up.
But Gallagher does make things up. Like
there was a bit where we went, "Oh, when was I talking to him again? Sunday." And he went, "Oh, yesterday." Oh, time flies. And I was like, you're making this up now.
Just because he's Spanish doesn't mean he knows every Spanish person in the world, which is some sort of pundits expected. But
what's his face knows every person in the world, doesn't he? Who's the tapping merchant?
Romano, Fabrizio.
Yeah, Romano.
Tapping merchant. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. Claret Brew, big fans of their podcasts. So I recommend. I haven't watched it yet, but I always recommend their content. So yeah, check it out. I'll have a watch later. I'll have a watch later. So it's a great coup there to get Balaguer in and talk about. Obviously, it'd be
Sorry, mate. What did you say there?
Coup. Great coup.
Oh, it sounded like you said coop. That's all. I'm just making sure you. Make sure it wasn't another. It wasn't another Didier 6 moment, mate.
Didier 6.
Yeah.
Can I just say, so people haven't watched the pod. We had a late. We used to when we first year we started the pod. We had a Room 101 segment, where you'd pick 3 things to go into Room 101, and it could be anything. Like Carl had our throw-ins, for example.
Every throw-in we've ever taken.
Every throw-in we ever taken. Sorry, that was the thing. But I named it Didier 6.
Didn't he put ball boys in as well?
I did.
Ball boys, yeah. Ball girl.
Outrageous.
Or ball, gender neutral.
Just anyone who's been
ball children.
Ball people.
Ball children. Yeah, they're normally children though, aren't they?
Guys is like
you can't say guys. Not allowed. No, guys is gendered, mate. Sorry.
It is.
Yeah, I get in trouble for that as well because I use it.
I think we should avoid the subject. To be fair, just say ball people. We can say people. But yeah, it was originally because you had 6 choices. You could do 6 things that go in, which obviously was too much because it takes too long. That's why I called it Didier 6. But I knew it was Didier 6, but I called it Didier 6 to fit in with the 6. You understand?
But 6 is just 6 in French, and
everyone knows GCSE French.
I personally think our listeners are of a level that they would still get what the segment means from that, mate. But if you feel the need to dumb it down, then that's up to you.
Make me the villain. That's fine.
Sam Cleary and really random reviews comments there. Sam's right. They did hire McPhee on the back of my criticism, and not long afterwards, we tried Matty Cash with a long throw, just the once where we scored an overhead kick and then just did never do it again.
Ballers. There we go. That's good, isn't it? Ballers. That's good. It sounds too much like a shit social media channel trying to talk about football.
Well, I just like to assume that Benjamin there is just referring to us as ballers.
Yes, mate. Yeah, safe. Peeps is a good one. Peeps.
Ball peeps.
Ball peeps.
Yeah. Good. Thanks.
Heralio Gomez says Brummy accent needs work, Carl.
Yeah, come on, Carl.
Working on it, mate. Working on it.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. This is getting certainly off track now, isn't it? So a few shouts of assistant manager Rafa Benitez. I don't think it's going to be in. Jimmy Traore, Sam.
Yeah. Who else has got a European Cup? David May. We could get David May in.
Yeah.
Steve Gerrard.
He said it was going to be exciting. It's Team Gerrard. Yeah.
I'd be excited by David May. Would you not? Ronnie Onson. Did he get one?
No. Villa. Well, he's a former Villa player, obviously. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Forgotten about that.
Yeah. But I wonder who. I said Santi Cazorla just because I thought it meant the Euros. But
to be honest, mate, just not to ruin your segment, but I don't really care about this one. I don't like whoever we get.
Right, let's. Should we go?
Literally just guessing. So
Let's finally.
Finally. He's doing well though. He's doing well. I had a little Insta exchange with him. What
do you mean he's doing well? What's he doing?
Here we go. Come on, Perslow. You don't have to keep dropping names of. Look at me. I'm mates with Dwight York. I'm messaging him.
But the reason why I was saying that was because I was congratulating him because of something he did, and I can't remember what it was. And but he's been on our.
It's like that David O'Leary quote, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What are you doing?
Wanted to put me forward for something or whatever.
When you get back in the game. Anyway, he's been on our pod, obviously. So if you haven't seen that, check it out. Dwight York, the Late Night Ramble, it's called. It was a great conversation me and Chadsy had with Dwight, and it was very open. Fair play to him. We didn't manage to get everything that we wanted to do, but we managed to spend an hour with him, and it was really interesting. Interesting comments as well on that video. People absolutely love him or absolutely hate him. There's no seems to be no in between there. But obviously one of our best ever players. So check that out. It's a little plug there as well. Really random reviews. He's been hanging around with Bardo. Starts name dropping. Yeah. And Jugsy said this is my 17th pod of the week as well. So I've been on quite a few this week.
Big time, Omar.
Big time. Just trying to help out. That's all it is. So let's move on. Should we move on to hero and villain of the week and move on to the Brentford game, or anything else you want to discuss about Unai Emery? I'm conscious. I didn't necessarily want to go into like too much detail into his playing style and the formations and the personnel, etc. But more sort of the principle behind why we've signed him. Just because I think a lot of other pods have covered that in great length, and I don't want to sort of duplicate what others have done.
Yeah, and probably better than we would do it, to be fair, as well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I'd agree.
Hero
and villain. I've actually updated this video, but I haven't uploaded it yet. So you're gonna have to make do with the one I showed you last week. So here it is. How good is that? So the new one, I've got the Villa Talks badge on instead of the A.
Oh, mate, I might make you villain of the week just for showing that. So, hero of the week, a few nominations.
You love that. You absolutely love that. I can tell.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was really good, that.
Few nominations for hero of the week for me. Danny Ings, as a person who has a son with autism, it was great to see Danny Ings helping our mascot out, who obviously needed to wear ear defenders because of the noise, and to make him feel comfortable. And hope Danny Ings did the same thing. Obviously, really simple, easy, small gesture, but massive for that lad. So massive shout out to Danny Ings for that. He's a nomination. Ollie Watkins, nominating him primarily to wind Sam up because he's not on the pod, and we had a massive argument on WhatsApp about whether Ollie Watkins was shit or not. We were all on the side of him not being shit, but
no. Omar's somewhere.
Hang on, I haven't finished. Sam, and to a lesser extent, Omar, were on the side of him being shit.
I was perfectly sage. I thought in that, but very balanced.
Even Sam softened his stance by the end of the conversation.
We beat him down. We beat him down.
Oh yeah, beat him into submission. But Watkins obviously ended his goal drought, which was brilliant. Good performance all round, so I'm led to believe, although I didn't actually see the game, if I'm honest.
Don't say that on the pod.
Mate, I'll be honest, I was on a train. I listened to it on the radio. What are you going to do? And again, a really nice moment at the end of the game where there's a young Brentford fan that Ollie Watkins used to spend a lot of time with when he was at Brentford, and he went over to that lad and spent some time with him and had a little penalty shootout with him on the pitch and all that sort of stuff. And just that's the sort of stuff
Woody,
you love
I
to
think his
see
name
from
is.
players. Yeah, Woody.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit of chat around Watkins celebrating, but to be fair to most of the Brentford fans I saw, especially off the back of them seeing that interaction with Woody, they were all very understanding, and they were like, well, he doesn't owe us anything. We made a lot of money off him. He was brilliant for us. They all recognise that he's had a tough time, and scoring that goal was massive for him personally. And I think that's what it should be like. You should be able to.
I hate people not celebrating.
Yeah, exactly. So
I love
just
Vardy.
relief.
I love Vardy when he winds up home fans. I think
doing
everyone
that. Do you see him do that?
Love it.
Myself.
Yeah.
Go on.
So
is he your nomination, or you're going to?
No, those are my two. Those are two close run things. But I think the hero of the week has to be Aaron Danks. I think he has to be. And look, we've said already, it wasn't rocket science what he did, but he did what we've all been saying he needed to do: go 4-2-3-1, double pivot. You've got to drop the players who are out of form, play the players who are in form. And look, I think as well, actually, for all he had nothing to lose in a way, because he probably even, if Emery had already agreed on Friday, he probably already knew that he was going to only ever have it for a very short period of time. So even if he'd made those changes and it had gone badly, it doesn't make a massive difference to him or his reputation or anything like that, really. But it just went to show that all of our frustrations with Gerrard and his stubbornness and his refusal to move away from 4-3-3 just laid all of that bare. And I think even in that context, some of what he did was bold. Like, I think we would all have said, yeah, drop McGinn. But to drop McGinn and Ramsey, which is exactly the right thing to do if you're playing that system, because neither of them fit naturally into it, as well as some of the other players in the squad. I still think that was still a bold move. Even switching Bailey and Watkins in terms of the wings that they've been playing on, even when Gerrard has played them as a three up front and played them on the wings. Bailey primarily played on the left for Leverkusen when he had his brilliant season before we signed him, with whatever it was, 14 goal contributions or goal involvements or whatever it was. So he just did everything right, and it went right. Exactly as Horalio is saying there, it's not rocket science. Like, play players who are in form, play players in their right positions, pick a balanced team, and you will see a good performance. So he's my hero of the week. I don't know if you guys have got any other thoughts on hero of the week.
Completely agree, Carl.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I reckon, hopefully, the first and only time a Blues fan is named Hero of the Week on this pod.
Closest Blues will ever get to winning at Villa Park, I think, for a long time. So, but it was not nice. Even though I think he emphasises a local lad, he understands Villa, he understands the club, even though he probably is grown up a Blues fan or whatever. But as I said, with even when Grealish left, when people are involved in football, when it comes to actually supporting clubs, it's a different ball game, really, isn't it? When you're involved in football day in, day out, and play for different clubs or whatever it is as a professional, it's completely different. And I think the fact that he has a local connection, I think it really helped. And I think the fans got behind him, which was great. For those of you joining, we have already discussed Unai Emery at length. So we're just moving on to the Brentford game. Just because we haven't done a review of that pod with so much going on. Carl, do you think Aaron Danks has laid a template then for Unai Emery now moving forward, in terms of personnel, in terms of shape as well?
He might. I mean, he might have his own ideas about personnel and which ones fit better into it. But I think the formation. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And I know I half jokingly said that it might have been why we played it, to give him a sort of idea of how it works. But I mean, he hasn't. I mean, I know it could all go horribly wrong against Newcastle. We're likely going to choose the same personnel against Newcastle, and so he might feel like he has a bit of work to do when he comes in after that match. But I think exactly how we played is how he's going to start, and probably with the same personnel. And then it's about him coaching and being the world-class coach that he is, improving some of the players that have regressed under Gerrard, McGinn being one of them, Ramsey being another. Hopefully he can.
Well, all of them actually.
Yeah, well, no, I stopped at Ramsey there, realising I could just go through the whole list. So yeah, I think. I mean, it was a brilliant performance. It was really handy that we scored so early on because the Villa fans, home fans, were completely behind it. And I mean, they were from the beginning anyway, but it can get a bit tetchy at times. And I think it feels like just that one result, even before us appointing Emery, it felt more like just after that one result, I was looking up the table rather than behind, even though there's still only a couple of points sort of behind us.
It's weird. It's weird though, isn't it? It feels like I'm completely contradicting myself because I think I was on our pod, maybe even Villa View, talking about it, and I just said, I think it was Villa View actually before the game, and I was not
so many pods you're on, mate. It's hard to remember.
I'm only on 2, but still. But I was thinking, whatever happens with the Brentford game, I still think there's so much to sort out and so much wrong with the club, etc., etc. But then we win 4-0, and my mindset completely changes, and I think the players needed it, the fans needed it, the club needed it. Just that performance, that start, 3 goals within the first 15 minutes or whatever it was. I don't think we've ever scored that many goals in the Premier League in that quicker time. It's completely rejuvenated the club. Don't you feel, AJ? Now with Unai Emery coming in as well, there's a completely different mood and mindset.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were miserable last week, weren't we? And we have been for a long time because. Yeah, as we've said, not only were we not getting good results under Gerrard, but the football was dreadful as well. It was just really appalling to watch. And it's also like fans end up sniping at each other because, some are blaming the players, some are blaming the manager, all of that. And just the whole mood around the club is totally different off the back of bringing in a manager with a proven track record, having a good result, seeing that actually, the players are good enough at this level if you play them in the right way, if you pick the right combination, all of that sort of stuff, that they're not, there was considerable concern given how far all of the players had regressed about whether we had a squad that was anywhere near good enough to compete for mid-table in this division. But I think, having seen that performance, that result against Brentford, can't say I saw the performance. Having seen that result against Brentford, it's clear that we do. The players are good enough to, perhaps not. We're not talking about the current squad being good enough for top 6, especially with the injuries that we've got, or even top 8. But to be comfortably mid-table, there's no question that the squad is good enough and that they were undermined by a poor coach, and that's why we are where we are. And now we've got an excellent coach, so. Hopefully, we won't see that any longer.
So, who's your villain of the week then?
Well, now my villain of the week is every single prick, of which there are many. And you almost said it earlier, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt because I think you were just trying to stimulate the discussion. Every single prick who has said that the players were downing tools under Gerrard, and the only reason for this performance against Brentford was that they were suddenly trying when they weren't trying before. And I've been saying, even last week when we were miserable as fuck, I was saying on that pod, I don't think in general, perhaps the Fulham game, but in general, I don't think there's been a lack of effort from the players at any time this season. I think the issue has been they're poorly coached, they're played out of position, they don't know what they're doing. They've been given no creative structure to break teams down. There's no attacking patterns of play. We don't create any chances. Gerrard created this whole mood of negativity and all of that sort of stuff. So it's not that they weren't putting an effort in. And anyone who's saying that is either being lazy or being a wind-up merchant. And I've seen Shearer say it. I've seen heard Lee Hendry saying it earlier. He should know better as someone who watches the Villa all the time. All kinds of people saying it, and very few people in the mainstream media. I think Tom Colomus is one who came out and said he didn't think it was the case. And, the reason why we were so much better against Brentford was because we dropped players who were out of form. We played a balanced team. We changed formation to a formation. Everybody who watches Villa regularly has been saying we should have been at least trying to see if it worked. And yeah, the fact that Gerrard blamed the players all the time probably did mean subconsciously that they weren't playing to the best of their abilities. But it's not like any of them were specifically not trying and were on purpose trying to get him sacked. That is just nonsense. I'm sick of it. I expected it. Obviously, we expected them all to gather around their mate, to gather around a super wonderful Steven Gerrard, Premier League legend. We all expected that. We're used to that, having been Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa for a year and trying to tell people that he's useless as a manager. But nonetheless, it's still really wound me up over the last few days. And I'm putting all of those guys in the bin as villain of the week.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Carl, this is normally your segment. So let's quickly get your thoughts. And we're going to move on quickly to the Newcastle game and Villa Vault. But Darren Ambrose was one, as we mentioned in the comments. Jamie O'Hara. To be fair to Darren Ambrose, he came back and said, "I've been put right by Villa fans. I was wrong."
I tell you,
so I give him
one
credit,
person who was one that was saying actually no, it was the tactics was Darren Bent, and he usually doesn't have a fucking clue what he's talking about. But I've been furious about it as well. The thing I don't get about it is that it's much easier to believe that the manager was just shit than all the players decided to stop playing
every
football.
single player.
Like they've all got together and went, "Should we play shit? Not so shit that it's obvious. We'll just play like 10% shitter today."
Yeah, not to mention, like some of them are trying to get into World Cup squads and stuff like that. Like Ollie Watkins isn't going to go. Do you know what? I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to be shit. It's probably realistically my best chance ever to go to a World Cup. I'll be 31 by the time the next one.
Yeah,
but maybe I just won't bother.
Even Coutinho, Gerrard's man, he's It's not like he's not. He's Brazil. He's probably last chance to play for Brazil in the World Cup, and he was in the squad. Now he's out of the squad. He's been in poor form. Why would he play?
No,
shit?
I'll just be shit.
Why would he?
I'll just be shit. Can't be bothered.
They've all They're just as you say. They're protecting their mate. They all sort of worship him. They can't possibly think that just because he was a brilliant footballer, he can't possibly. How could he be a shit manager or a shit coach? It's because that's just the way it is. Maradona was fucking shit. A shit football manager. Just the way it is, and it amazes me that they're quick. They'll just believe that the players are just not trying, rather than the tactics are all wrong. The formation completely doesn't suit the team, and
his man management was terrible. Apart from that, there's nothing to criticise him for, really.
This kid, the Tubbs Mafia. Few good comments there. Right, let's move on to the Newcastle game. We're not going to do a proper preview, just because we've spent so much time talking about Unai Emery. But I've quickly. This is literally me doing in the last 2 minutes. Rustled together a game for Villa Vault. So let's do that. We'll get your predictions as well. So this is a bit of a surprise for you guys. It's time for the Villa Vault. Right, so we are going back to... Actually, before we do that, let's quickly get your prediction for Villa Newcastle.
Oh, prediction first.
Yeah, let's do prediction. AJ, your prediction? And guys, for those watching, give your predictions in the comments as well.
I don't know. They're doing really well, aren't they? They're looking good. We're away. Obviously, there's a good mood around the place. I'm going to go for a draw. I think we'll still have a bit more freedom about us. Maybe we'll score twice. So let's say 2-2 and a good game.
2-2, yeah. A few 2-1s I've seen in the comments. Bit of pessimism. Blues fans in the comments, welcome to the pod. It's really, really great you're wasting your Tuesday night and coming on the Villa YouTube channel. But fair play to you.
They're not going to want to listen to a fucking Blues podcast, are they?
Yeah, true. Do they have podcasts? I don't know.
Do they have electricity this morning?
They don't have.
Let's not go. Let's not.
They definitely don't have Wi-Fi, do they, over there?
Okay, let's not go.
Still on WAP, I think, aren't they? Not
the 56k modem AOL free trial.
Yeah.
Still got that. Right, yeah, okay. So sorry, Carl. What did you say? 2-1.
I haven't said anything yet.
Oh, sorry, no, AJ, sorry, you said 2-1, didn't you?
No, I said 2-2, mate. Bloody
2-2,
hell.
sorry.
Pay
Sorry,
attention.
Sorry, I was too into modems and AOL.
Yeah.
Carl, your prediction?
27-0.
Yeah, it is. We're back.
He's back.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, Gerrard's out. What are goal scorers, mate?
Dendoncker scores all 27.
Oh, wow. That'd be quite the turn up for the books.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't think he's ever scored 27 goals in his career, but fair play.
Do you want me to
Fair play
check?
to you.
Shall I have a quick look?
No, yeah, you.
It's
No, we're
time
gonna.
to start.
Yeah, are you actually gonna check? What can I do?
Yeah, I'll have a look.
5-2. DW's gone for end-to-end game. 1-0 Villa.
5-2. 5-2 to us.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
2-1.
That'd be good,
2-2.
wouldn't it?
A lot of 2-2s. A lot of 2-2s. A lot of Desmond 2-2s on the comments. The donks. Right. Let's. So we're going to go back for. We're going to go back to 2004, 28th of August 2004. Aston Villa at home against Newcastle.
18 goals. 18 goals in his entire career.
I
in the league.
thought you meant Aston Villa Newcastle game in 2004. And 18
No.
goals. I was like, no, not the car.
No, Dendoncker. So you're right. He hasn't even scored 27 in his career. So
There you go.
20. If you look at all competitions, he's on 21. So
Not 27 though. Right.
no.
Lads who shook the spot.
I didn't say he'd scored 27 goals already. I said he was going to score 27 goals against Newcastle. Why are you fucking looking up his stats? It doesn't matter. He's scoring
Well,
27.
it's literally, I've had no other stats today.
He's
so
only
I've had
played
to-
once under Aaron Danks. So,
Yeah, that's
you know,
true. It's true. He didn't score though.
I haven't given my prediction actually.
Go on then.
I think it's going to be 1-0.
Who to?
now I know we.
Who to,
to
mate?
Villa.
Yep.
To Villa.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm not going to.
All right.
I'm not going to predict a loss. I'm not that pessimistic. I'm not Sam. But
Sam
I
says
think
we're going to win 1-0 in the comments.
yeah. I think Newcastle are going to be a difficult proposition. Of course, they're going to be a difficult proposition. They're in great form. They're playing so well. Howe's doing so well, more than I ever expected. I'm sure more than all of us ever expected. How well he's doing there.
How well? Yeah.
How well he's doing there. Very good. Yeah. But just yeah. I think we've got a good momentum, and I think Dank's still going to be charged. I think 1st November Unai Emery comes in, doesn't he? So, I think why not? Let's feed off the positive vibes and let's go for it. So we're going to go back to not August. Sorry, I got that wrong. It's April 2005. Newcastle, Aston Villa, St James's Park. What was the score?
Is it it's not the one with the fight, is it? Is it the fight one?
It is, isn't it?
We've had the fight one on the pod before, mate.
Have we?
Yeah, I think
so.
so.
Have we?
It was
Well,
3-0.
we got lots of new.
Yeah. No, let's do it. We won, didn't we? We won.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Cheers, Jason. Hit the like, you miserable gits. Yeah, hit the like button. Yeah. All that good jazz.
Why don't you put up the guy who's buzzing off me? Put that comment.
I'm buzzing off Car. Come on. All right, there you go, Car. Got your.
Thank you. Cheers.
5 seconds of fame. Jesus Christ.
So
how can you see all these comments in advance? I'm not seeing them.
Oh, come on, you were just slagging off Blues fans for not being able to use a computer.
Oh, I don't know how to do it, man.
Sorry, was it 3-0 that game?
It was 3-0. Yeah. 3-0. Yeah.
Right.
And obviously the famous Kieran Dyer and Lee Boyer fight.
Well, and the more famous, in my opinion, Stephen Taylor. I've been shot in the chest by a bullet when actually.
Yeah, very good. That was going to be my next question because I was going to say 3 who's the third. So well done.
Can I also just mention Tom, friend of the pod, when he said Stephen Taylor was a future England captain? Remember that?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he say that? Oh,
he did.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, well, after that game or before that game?
Well, I don't think specifically like after that game. I don't
mean like immediately after that.
The day after, he's like, oh yeah, he might have done that, but I can't remember the timeline exactly. But I remember him saying
with that in the back of his mind that he'd done that previously against Villa.
I don't know. I just remember him saying it's bad enough, regardless of whether it was before or after the incident, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So that was the third sending off. Yeah, very even more famous. I agree. Who were the scorers?
Vassal scored. Did he score the penalty? No, Barry scored the penalty.
Barry scored the pen. Yeah.
Malberg?
Nope.
I can only remember the penalty.
There was actually two. There was two penalties actually.
Oh, Barry scored two penalties then.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Jess got it right. Yeah, two penalties there, and the other goal scorer scored within the first 5 minutes. Striker,
Carew.
Not in 2005. Too early.
Mate, come on. Unless it's the 90s, I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, you are very much a 90s kid.
That's all. It's too late for Angel, is it?
It is Angel. It is
Angel. Was he in that game? Whoa.
He was in that game.
Wow.
Yeah, this was David O'Leary days. I think this must have been a good. It was a fairly good. I think we might have finished like 10th or 11th, something like that season. So let's do Villa lineup. So looks like we played a 4-4-2.
Emery would like that, wouldn't he? He likes 4-4-2.
Yeah, he likes a 4-4-2.
Keeper Sorensen.
Yeah. Back four.
Malberg.
Yeah.
Lawson.
Yeah.
Oh, Lawson did play.
Lawson played,
without the centre halves.
J-Lo Samuel left back. There's centre halves. Right back. We're missing the right back.
Right back.
Second touch was second. Yep. Second touch was tackle. Yeah.
Delaney.
I said yeah.
All right. Well, stop saying second touch was a tackle when I've already named it.
I was just trying to say.
I don't need a clue if I've already answered it, mate.
It wasn't a clue. It's just a
hell.
Oh,
come on.
Jesus Christ. Guess on YouTube becomes big.
Barry's in the team. Yeah. We know that.
Barry,
2005. McCann was it? Who seemed?
No. Yeah. Barry. You mean Barry? Two central midfielders.
Not McCann. I already said McCann.
Someone who came through the.
Barry's not. Where's Barry playing?
Barry's playing left wing.
Right. What using
two central midfielders? A youth teamer.
McCann.
No, you
said McCann already.
Got the most caps in Northern Ireland ever.
Steve Davis.
Stephen Davis.
Yeah.
Must have had a more defensive one in there as well, did we?
Stuttgart. I think it's Stuttgart's
director.
Hitzelsberger. Yeah, and then Steve Bruce's enemy.
Cabbage. Cabbage on the right wing, did we?
Any sort of salad?
Newcastle fan.
Any sort of salad. We're just on a bowl of salad playing right wing.
Well, Lee Hendry's one of the villains of the week, so he's our enemy too. So then up front we've got Angel and
the other one. You've named him. Carl already named him. Guess.
Oh, did he?
Angel.
Vassell.
Yeah. And well, should we go quickly do subs? Yeah. No, we haven't got time. All right. Carlton Cole, Solano, and Ridgewell came on. And then, so looking at Newcastle sides, any Villa links?
Solano,
Milner.
Solano played for Villa. Milner is one, yeah. And I think, there's one more player.
Goalkeeper.
Two more players. You're right. Two more players. Oh no, three more players. Threy more players. Given. Yeah.
Jenas?
Yes. Yeah. I was going to say Sprinkler, but yeah, you got it. Yeah. That was a clue. The other one was a central defender, played under David O'Leary as well. I think because we signed him the next season, actually. And he played right back and centre back.
Oh, Aaron Hughes.
Yeah. Aaron Hughes.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Well done, Jay. Today.
Well done, Jay. Didn't leave you there. Got it right. Roger Morrison got it right as well. Well, I think that's it for us, boys. Enjoyed that. Quick not really a preview of Newcastle, but
no.
We managed to get a Villa vault in. I managed to use one of my videos. But Unai Emery
you got to sort that hero and villain of the week one out though.
Yeah, I will.
If that's still on next week, then your villain of the week.
The news one's too loud as well.
Yeah, turn the news down.
It's really loud.
No one wants loud news.
I've done it. I just haven't uploaded it yet. I'll do it. I'll sort it out. Don't worry. Sorry, guys.
We didn't even need it this week. It wasn't even like a news segment. It was just stuff everybody already knew.
Yeah. All right. Calm down. You guys are getting really brave on YouTube. You know that? Really brave you are. I might get Chazzy and Chugsy back on. I think
you should
get them on. Fine.
But thank you, boys. Thank you for your time. Unai Emery's here. Well, he's not here yet, but he's a new head coach of Aston Villa. Great appointment. We're all really, really positive for once. Onwards and upwards. And up the Villa.
Up the Villa.
Up the fucking Villa.
And the Yelts.
Come on, you donks.